Hello, welcome to Level Change by Claudio Fonseca. This is another introduction video to our 777 complete virtual course, and today I'm going to show you what to expect from this course. Okay, you have here on your screen the list of Boeing 777 normal procedures. As you can see, written in red is the word complete. And if I was going to show you only the normal procedures, this was not going to be a complete virtual ground course. So today, this video is to show you what I'm going to bring to you on this course. You will see at the end of the video that this course will take a little bit of time to be recorded because I'm going to bring you a lot of information. Okay, so first thing that I want to do, I want to remove my webcam so you can see the full presentation that I'm going to show you from now on. Okay, so complete virtual ground course. If this is not a complete virtual ground course, what it is a complete virtual ground course? A complete virtual ground course is a course that is going to show you, of course, the Boeing 777 normal procedures that you can see to your right side, but also supplementary, non-normal maneuvers and techniques. Okay, so I'm going to expand the course as we are going to discuss it, but have in mind that also more things are going to be added as soon as I have the time to record these videos, and as soon I can notice that the Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 and the PMDG 777 can handle something that will be benefit for you. Okay, couple of things that I know the airplane doesn't behave like in the real airplane, I'm not going to bring because I don't want to mess up with your heads. Okay, so instead of having only the preliminary pre-flight, for example, what we are going to see before preliminary pre-flight, and this is a sequence of events that you are going to see starting from next Tuesday. Okay, so first, you already saw the introduction video. This is the second introduction video, and I will bring even more introduction videos as long as I think they will be beneficial for the training for this virtual ground course itself. Okay, then we are going to do the electrical power up. Okay, so the electrical power up is a supplementary procedure, and as you notice here, every time that you see something yellow, I'm referring to supplementary procedures. Okay, so before we start with the preliminary pre-flight, I'm going to show you the electrical power up procedure. Actually, the electrical power up procedure is already available for all channel members, and on Tuesday you are going to see this if you are not a channel member. Then as we move, I'm going to show you another supplementary procedure, which is the ground conditioned air use. Okay, this is very important. This is another supplementary procedure that you are going to use from the beginning of your flight until the end of your flight. Okay, so the ground conditioned air use can be used at any time you are at the gate, you are parked in a ramp position, and this is very important that you know what ground conditioned air use is and how to deal with it before we start the normal procedures itself. And then the first time that we have a normal procedure is going to be the next video about preliminary. Okay, then instead of going from the preliminary pre-flight, as you can see here, to the CDU pre-flight, okay, I'm going to include a technique. Okay, so every time that you see green ones, I'm going to talk about techniques and how we handle this situation in real life. Okay, so the first technique that I'm going to show you is the initial performance calculations. Okay, usually this is part of the preliminary for some companies. Sometimes this is even part of the flight preparation. Even before the pilots going to the airplane, they can do it, these initial performance calculations. Okay, I'm going to show you after the preliminary, because we are going to use the PMDG Universal Flight tablet to do the initial performance calculations. That's why I put in this order. Okay, then what we are going to do, instead of the CDU pre-flight itself, I'm going to divide the CDU pre-flight into CDU initial data and navigation data and the CDU performance data. Okay, is this something that we can call Boeing procedure? Yes, it is. I'm going to show you, because in the beginning of the CDU pre-flight, Boeing tell us when we have to complete the initial and navigation data and when we have to complete the performance data, even though it's only one procedure. Okay, so Boeing give us the possibility of do it in different times, and Boeing is telling us when we have to do it as well. Okay, I'm going to show you all of this. So instead of only CDU pre-flight, I'm going to call, after the preliminary and initial performance calculation, I'm going to do the CDU initial and navigation data. Okay, next step is the exterior inspection. Exterior inspection is also a Boeing normal procedure that usually I tend not to show in the flight simulator for obvious reasons. Okay, but because PMDG included a couple of nice features about our tires and brakes, I'm going to talk with you about the exterior inspection as well, at least what we can do in the flight simulator. Okay, then we are going to go to the pre-flight for the first officer and the pre-flight for the captain. Usually when I bring my videos as well, this pre-flight is combined, first officer and captain, in the same video. This time, following the Boeing procedures, I'm going to separate them. You are going to understand why I'm doing this at this time. And also I want to tell you that if you want to fly the 777 alone, I have a guide for you to fly the 777 alone. It's called 777 Simulator Guide, and I'm going to leave this guide to you on the video description. You will find a link to download this guide as well. This guide is already complete, and you are going to complete the entire flight from there. Have in mind that this complete virtual ground course is going to show you how to deal with all that guide, and also normal flight on the 777 with 2 pilots. Okay, so then after the pre-flight from the captain, instead of jumping to the before start, I'm going to show you the performance calculations. This is not the initial performance calculations that we do to validate our flight. These are the performance calculations that we are going to do to actually use as performance data for our takeoff. Okay, then I'm going to talk about refueling, how the refueling is usually performed in real life, and what are the considerations related to the pilots about it. Okay, then we go to ATC clearance. This is some time for us to talk about how to get ATC clearance and how we handle the ATC clearance in the cockpit itself. Not just about how to get it, but how to handle. This is the most important thing. When you get an ATC clearance, your flight plan clearance, what you do with all the information that the ATC just gave to you. Okay, then we are going to go to taxi and takeoff briefings. I'm going to explain different types of taxi and takeoff briefings. I'm working for my second company. I work 8 years in the first one. I'm reaching 8 years in the second one, so it's more than 15 years already flying in commercial aviation. And I can tell you that during these 15 years, I've seen a lot of different techniques and procedures for the taxi and takeoff briefings. Okay, the companies, they tend to revise the information on the briefings from time to time, and I'm going to try to bring you most of the information that I had on these 15 years, and I'm if I remember, I'm going to try to show you what is, in my opinion, the best way to conduct a taxi and takeoff briefings, and of course I'm going to perform this briefing with you. Okay, so remember, we are still between pre-flight from the captain and the before start. Okay, then we are going to do the CDU performance data. Remember that we split the CDU pre-flight into two procedures. This is the time for the performance data, and together with the performance data at the end, actually at the performance data, we start with the before start procedure, and the before start procedure is just like this. At the end of performance data, you start this procedure and you are going to finish it just before pushback or towing. A series of events that are going to happen, and we have to manage before we start the flight itself. And this is a procedure that I'm going to go with you very slowly, because I want to show you that there are many different things that can happen at this time, and it's very important for the pilots to deal with it as they come. Okay, just for one example, sometimes you will get the clearance to, or you are going to give the clearance to close the door for the cabin crew before receiving the performance data, or after receiving the performance data, but before having time to input this into CDU. So how you deal with this, with the before start and all the things that you have to do at this time. Then we go to the pushback or towing procedure, standard Boeing procedure, and the engine start that usually is performed during the pushback or towing procedure as well. After engine start, not big deal, we go to before taxi, and then I'm going to go to taxi procedure. As you can see, taxi procedure here is in magenta because it's the maneuver that I'm going to show you. Okay, on the Boeing procedures itself, you do not see between before taxi and before takeoff the taxi procedure. Okay, so I'm going to talk to you about what we do here, how we taxi this airplane, a couple of visual cues that you can get inside the cockpit to maintain the 777-300ER, one of the longest, if not the longest airplane in service in the world, how you keep this airplane in the taxiways. Okay, couple of techniques and a couple of things as well that I see during taxi, and I'm going to show you some differences, or I'm going to describe to you some difference from the PMDG and Microsoft 2020 to the real life. Okay, I really think PMDG did a nice job on the taxi handling, but there are a couple of things that are different and I want you to understand. And the most important is that the way that PMDG designed this, it really helps for non-experienced pilots not to have brakes hot, for example, or something like this. Okay, so after the taxi, we go to the standard before takeoff procedure and then the takeoff procedure. The next step is also standard: flap retraction, speed schedule, climb and cruise, descent, approach, flap extension schedule, and also ILS and VNAV procedures. ILS and VNAV procedures are the two types of approaches considered by Boeing as normal procedure nowadays. There are more options to shoot an approach, and I'm going to give you more details once we go further on this virtual ground course. Okay, of course, every time that you are approaching, there is a chance for you to go around and perform a missed approach. Yep, I'm going to show you that as well. And another procedure that is the discontinued approach. Okay, because there are a couple of approaches that you may need to discontinue before you reach the missed approach altitude. Okay, so basically, go around and missed approach altitude will tell you how to go around and perform a missed approach altitude when you have to climb from the point that you start your go around and missed approach until your missed approach altitude. And the discontinued approach is pretty much the same procedure, but you are starting it above your missed approach altitude, so you cannot go up, you have to continue down, and I'm going to show you how to deal with this kind of approaches as well. Then we are going to talk about landing. I'm going to bring a lot of information from the flight crew training manual. We are going to apply this to the 777 by PMDG, and you are going to see that it works perfectly. Okay, the next step is the standard landing row, after landing, shutdown, and secure procedure. That ends the Boeing normal procedures itself. But before we complete the flight, I'm going to show you as well the electrical power down. Do not forget that between shutdown, secure, electrical power down, and all of this, you may also need to apply the ground conditioner air use supplementary procedure that I show you just in the beginning of this virtual ground course. Okay, if you think that this is a lot, this is just the beginning of a complete virtual ground course. Okay, so we just did a standard flight. I even talked to you about missed approach and discontinued approach, and now we are going to deal with more things. Okay, couple of things that do not happen every day, but you can have on and then. Okay, and those things are departure airport not in the FMC navigation database. What happened if you are in your Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 and you want to take the 777 from the small airports that you have in your hometown, or you want to go to your father's little hometown, and on your father's little hometown there is an airport. Of course, the airport does not have a 777 operations, but you are going to remove all passengers, all cargo, and you want to play with this airplane at that airport. How you deal with that? Okay, of course I'm bringing this to a simulator scenario, but this is a standard Boeing procedure and this can happen. Okay, maybe because of error in the navigation database, or maybe because you are taking this airplane to an airport that is away from your standard area of operation, and then you don't have that specific airport on your FMC. So how you deal with that if you want to depart from that airport? Interesting, isn't it? I think so. Then we are going to talk about engine ground pneumatic start. So this is when you do not have your APU, or when your pneumatics from the APU are not working. So you do an engine ground pneumatic start for one engine at the gate or at the apron, and then you push back, and then after pushback you do an engine cross bleed start, and that's the next step for us, the engine cross bleed start. I'm also going to show you a manual engine start. This is like starting the 777 like the 737, not a big deal, but there is a specific procedure for you to do it. Next step, we are going to do a PAX off takeoff and an APU to PAC takeoff. Okay, so these two procedures, they aim to increase our takeoff performance. So in case we need extra performance for our takeoff, that's the two procedures that we have in place for the 777. I'm going to show you both of them, and then I'm going to show you some Autopilot flight director system operation, which means basically how to deal with your MCP. Everything that we didn't do so far, I'm going to try to show you. For example, how to use heading hold, altitude hold, how to use the climb and continuous switch, and all those things that we can think about Autopilot. Okay, so once you know everything about Autopilot, I'm also going to show you the RNPAR, and basically this is very important for the new PMDG 777 navigation database that allowed us radio to fixed legs. I'm going to show you what it is and how to deal with these RNPAR approaches, and some considerations that you need to know when you are going to perform this kind of procedure. Then I'm going to show you the approach with a vertical speed or FPA. If you do not want to use VNAV, you do not have an ILS, and also you do not want to use VNAV for your approach, the other option is to use vertical speed or flight path angle. I'm going to show you how to do this, and at the end the circling approach. Okay, it's very important for you to know how to deal with a VS or FPA before we shut the circling approach, because it is necessary for this kind of procedures. This is not the end, of course. We are going to talk as well about the destination airport not in the FMC navigation database. The same thing, you are departing from one place, you want to go somewhere else, and this airport is not on your FMC. Can you fly the 777 there? if you really want, yes, that's a standard supplementary procedure for it, and I'm going to show you. I'm pretty sure that PMDG airplane can handle it. Okay, then we are going to talk about heading reference switch operation. Okay, because on the 777 you can switch between magnetic heading and true heading. I'm going to show you how to do it, when we do it, and why we do it on this supplementary procedure. Then I'm going to talk about data link. I have an asterisk here because the data link is going to be limited by the current PMDG features in place at the time that I record the video. Okay, so if we have departure clearance, I'm going to give you departure clearance information, or oceanic clearance information, or even 80s or weather information. I'm going to give you all this information as far as they are available on your home sim. Okay, the next step is the fuel balancing. Fuel balancing is actually a supplementary procedure, and it can also be a non-normal procedure. Okay, I'm going to consider as a supplementary procedure because you are going to see that the supplementary procedure itself, consider it as a non-normal procedure, and I'm going to show you all the techniques involved in the fuel balancing and how Boeing deals with fuel balancing on the 777. Then we talk about takeoff on wet or contaminated runway conditions. A couple of things very technical that you need to know about wet, and more specifically about contaminated runway and how you handle your performance on these contaminated runway conditions. Okay, next step is cold weather operations, and for cold weather operations you can see a gradient color as a background because you're going to see some maneuvers, you're going to see some techniques, you're going to see some supplementary procedures and so on. So that's why the color is a gradient, because you're going to see a lot of different things on the cold weather operations. That's also not the end. This is actually the end when we talk about hot weather operations. Then we talk about moderate to heavy rain, hail or sleet. The next step will be operation in sandy or dusty environment. Again, you will have here some of supplementary procedures, some techniques, some maneuvers, and how to deal with the operation in a sandy or dusty environment. Next one is the severe turbulence. Severe turbulence, as any other Boeing airplane, there is a supplementary procedure about it. I'm going to go with it to you. I'm going to explain how it is, and we are going to even select the modes recommended by the procedure itself. If I'm able to replicate severe turbulence on the 777 on MSFS, I'm going to do it, and we are going to see how the PMDG handles severe turbulence, and then I'm going to give you my impression from a real pilot perspective to what we are having in the sim. Next one is the wind shear, and wind shear, one more time, we are going to have supplementary procedures, techniques, maneuvers, everything will be discussed about the wind shear. I didn't add here, but most probably we are going to talk about terrain avoidance as well, and TCAS and all these things that are going to come almost like a non-normal operations. And the last step is non-normal operations, and about non-normal operations I want to be very clear with you. I'm not going to start non-normal operations before we finish all these normal and supplementary and standard procedures, because I don't want to stop non-normal operation, a non-normal procedure, to explain to you how to deal with the descent and approach. Okay, for example, you departed, now you have a non-normal, you have to deal with the non-normal, but you still have to fly the airplane, you still have to at least do your descent, approach and landing. Okay, for a couple of non-normals you are going to even continue your climb, your cruise, and then perform the descent, approach and the landing procedure itself. So I want you to be confident on this kind of thing. So when you see a couple of procedures that I'm going to do that is related to the normal flight, I don't have to explain you on these non-normal operations. One thing that I'm going to bring to you for sure is a playlist about and this time I'm going to give you my camera again. It's a playlist about engine failures or engine issues just after takeoff. Okay, I have this playlist in Portuguese. I recorded this playlist is a series of 8 or 9 videos. I do not recall now, but at least 8 videos about this kind of situation when we have an engine failure, fire, stall, or anything related to the engine problem just after takeoff. So basically you get your V1, you cannot stop your takeoff anymore, you have to continue your takeoff, and then at this point you have something related to the engine. I'm going to show you how to deal with these engine related problems. Okay, so this series of 8 videos, I'm going to record them in English as I already have them in Portuguese. So if you are a Brazilian, or if you speak Portuguese, or if you want to find this single engine after takeoff playlist in Portuguese and translate it to English, feel free. If you want to jump to that part right now, it's already available, but I'm going to record it in English as soon as we go to the non-normal operations. Okay, about the non-normal operations as well, I'm going to test the non-normal by PMDG first before recording videos about it for because of two considerations. First, I want to see if what is replicate in the simulator is something that happens in real life. Okay, if we have many limitations about the sim for a very specific non-normal situation, I'm not going to bring that non-normal to you, because I don't want to start doing a couple of things outside Boeing standard procedure just to comply with a simulator limitation. Okay, but I'm pretty sure that this engine related problems after takeoff, it's some of the failures that for sure we can deal with it. Okay, so that is my complete virtual ground course. I don't even know how many videos that's going to be. I didn't have time to count, and as I told you, I can even include more, but this list that I just show you is the minimum list of videos that I'm going to bring. Okay, on the first video of this series, and on the video already recorded about the electrical power up, you are going to see that I'm using a robot to perform the steps, or basically to call out the steps while I'm doing the steps on the sim. Okay, a couple of people like it, a couple of people didn't, but what I have to tell you is that the robot is going to continue until the end of this virtual ground course to give us the procedures itself. Okay, so when we go to, for example, preliminary pre-flight, you are going to see the robot reading the procedure while I'm doing the procedure with you on the screen. Okay, if I have to stop the robot and explain something, that I'm going to do it myself. I'm not going to include in this robot voice. Okay, so expect a mix of the robot and myself. And why I'm doing this? Because I noticed that when I have the procedure itself read by the robot, I can concentrate and show you the specific places, and it also goes faster than I'm doing myself. Okay, so if I have to read the procedure, if I have to then go to the place and show you the buttons and show you where to press and show you which light you have to look at, this takes much more time than the robot reading, and I'm only doing the procedure like I would be doing in real life. Okay, so in real life, the robot voice is in my head and I'm doing the procedure alone. I'm not talking to anybody. So if I have to talk to somebody, or if I have to stop the robot to explain you a couple of things about the system or a couple of things about the procedures, I'm going to stop the robot, we are going to talk about it, and then I continue with the robot, because one more time, this is going to be the fastest way to go through the list of procedures itself. Okay, so when we have a list of procedures, you can expect the robot to read this list of procedures, and then when I have something else, I'm going to explain to you. Have in mind also that these videos maybe they are not how can I say this, maybe I will have even more videos, as I already told you, but a couple of extra videos on top of that will go for members only. Okay, so these videos to members only, maybe I'm going to explain something from my previous experience in the real world, or from my previous experience in the Microsoft Flight Simulator, and so on. Okay, so the member only videos are a couple of videos that we have a chat like this one that I'm having with you, not only technical but also informative, and with some curiosities about the 777 operation in real world as well. Okay, so the channel members will get an extra information, extra curiosities, but if you are not a channel member, do not worry. All the standard procedures and supplementary procedures, normal procedures, non-normal procedures, you are going to see here in this channel for free. Okay, so even though all these procedures are going to be for free, I really like that if you consider, please become a member of this channel, help this channel to keep growing, give the thumbs up, share the videos with your friends, and let's go together on this journey that is going to take a while to complete, but I think is going to be a really nice piece of material for you to fly your 777, to study your 777, even for real pilots. And the last thing that I want to tell you, if you are a real pilot, or even if you are not a real pilot but you have knowledge about the 777 and you notice something that can be done different, something that your company does it different, or some techniques that you can apply to the 777, leave it on the comments below. I'm going to read all the comments, and I can even bring extra videos, and I can even bring your contributions to this virtual ground course. Okay, this is because everything that I'm bringing here is going to be documented by Boeing. So I'm not inventing anything. I'm bringing only procedures and techniques that I can read and bring you the documentation about it. One more thing I already discussed in the electrical power up videos, for the ones that had the option to watch it so far. I'm going to try to bring with every video the list of procedures that we are going to do. Okay, so there will be a document on every video, if I can, to give you the list of the procedures, just like it would be in the pilot's manual. Okay, it's not the same format, it's not going to be with the same wordings or the same way, because I found a better way, in my opinion, to give you this kind of information. So I'm bringing you this kind of information, of course, with the channel logo and everything. And this information you can download, you can keep on your phone, you can keep on your iPad, on your tablet, and you can also print it out to have it with you while you do the procedures. Okay, so I hope you like, and I hope you understand now what I mean by a complete virtual ground course. I hope to see all of you with me from now on until the end of this virtual ground course. See you next time. Bye bye.